Why aren't our veterans getting the kind of care they need in VA hospitals around the country? Stay tuned.
Welcome to the YouTube channel of Michael J. Swanson. Michael is the author of How David Beats Goliath and is the CEO of Advocate Capital. And now, here's Michael.
You may have heard in the news recently about controversies around the country where VA hospitals are not providing the kind of care they should for veterans. And in order to shed more light on this important topic, I've asked Brewster Rawls to join us today. He is an expert attorney in this area, has tried over 100 medical malpractice cases. So, Brewster, thanks for joining us today.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me. As I think people know right now, there's been a great deal of press with the VA in terms of waiting lists and delays in care. It first came out of the Phoenix VA, but frankly it's in most of them that we've ever dealt with, and I think the press has lately found it in many hospitals. One of the things that we have found in handling cases relating to veterans, and the majority of our federal tort claims practice is related to veterans, but we find that delays in care, delays in diagnosis are really kind of the common issue that we see in so many cases where somebody should have been diagnosed with something, typically cancer or heart condition, months or years, sometimes a very long time before they were. And that's a real problem. And the delays in care in the VA system are heinously unfair to our veterans, absolutely unfair to them. And they're not getting the kind of care they need, and I think veterans are harmed by it. We have cases where people die because they didn't get what they needed, which is pretty basic medical care, or an x-ray that showed the spot wasn't followed up on, or other tests were just not. They just didn't.
That's awful.
It's absolutely terrible.
Brewster, in your experience, what's the most common cause for delays?
It is, as the doctors would say, multifactorial. But the biggest problem, as I see it in the VA, is that the system is just unwieldy and cumbersome. There are many very good healthcare providers and very dedicated healthcare providers in the VA. I mean, I've encountered many of them, and I think probably the majority try to do right by their patients, but it is a system where it's just archaic in terms of how they get people scheduled and they bring them back. And I mean, for example, oftentimes when a veteran is sent for a follow-up, it isn't a matter of an appointment. It's like they have to send a letter to their home that says, okay, on this date you have a follow-up appointment with Dr. So-and-so, this clinic, without any thought to, it's truly hard on veterans who actually work because there's no thought to whether the veteran is available or not. And then they can be canceled arbitrarily, and mail is sadly not all that regular and good anymore. And you know, so that's a lot of the problems. It is just a system that honestly just doesn't often function very well, despite at times the good effort of people involved in it, who I think most of them I've dealt with want to help veterans. They do.
Well, Brewster, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and I want to thank you also for the important work that you and your firm do to hold the VA accountable and improve the service that our vets are getting. I know it makes a difference.
Well, I hope it does. You know, we do a lot of these cases. The VA knows us very well, and I'm probably not their most popular person at the Office of General Counsel in D.C., but we try to be fair in our dealings with them, and we try very hard to be fair with our veteran clients and do what's right for them. We try very hard to do that.
Well, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Send your questions or comments to Michael at mike@howdavidbeatsgoliath.com.